Most people think handling a health problem means going to a hospital. But the truth is, most health problems don't start there. They start at home. And when you remove the hospital from the equation, everything changes. Because now, the question isn't just, what do I have? It's, what do I do next? At first, it feels uncomfortable. Because people are used to a system where someone else makes the decisions. You describe symptoms. They interpret them. They tell you what to do. But without that system, you're the one responsible for every step. And that's where the first problem appears. Most people don't know how to interpret what they're feeling. So they default to guessing. A headache becomes something to ignore. A fever becomes something to reduce immediately. A stomach pain becomes something to wait out. And sometimes that works. But sometimes, it delays the right action. Because the issue isn't the symptom itself. It's what the symptom represents. And that's the hidden layer most people miss. Because common health problems follow patterns. But if you don't recognize those patterns, everything feels random. Take something like a fever. Without context, it's just discomfort. Something to get rid of. But with structure, it becomes information. How high is it? How long has it lasted? What else is happening at the same time? Now you're not just reacting. You're interpreting. The same applies to something like stomach pain. Without understanding, it's vague. But with structure, it becomes more specific. Where is it located? Is it constant or intermittent? Does it change with movement or food? And suddenly, the situation becomes clearer. Not easy, but clearer. And that clarity changes how you act. But here's where most people go wrong. They try to replace the hospital with solutions. They look for remedies, treatments, shortcuts, as if the goal is to replicate what a doctor would do. But that's not the real shift. Because the real issue isn't lack of treatment. It's lack of understanding. The real issue isn't the hospital being unavailable. It's not knowing how to think without it. And that's the turning point. Because once you understand that, you stop chasing quick fixes, and start focusing on interpretation. You begin to ask better questions. What is this likely to be? What signs indicate it's getting worse? What can be managed, and what cannot? And that changes everything. Because now, instead of reacting emotionally, you evaluate. Instead of waiting passively, you monitor. Instead of guessing, you narrow possibilities. And that process is what allows people to handle common health problems at home. Not perfectly, but effectively enough to prevent escalation. Because most serious situations don't start serious. They become serious when they're misunderstood or delayed. And that's what this approach helps avoid. It doesn't replace medical care. It bridges the gap until it's available. And sometimes, that's all that's needed. If you want a more structured breakdown of how to think through common health problems and what kind of knowledge actually helps in real situations, there's a practical guide linked in the description that goes deeper into this. You can also subscribe if you want more videos that break down real-world health scenarios in a clear and realistic way. Because when a hospital isn't available, what you understand becomes your first line of response.